Hey everybody, it's DZ, and I am here today at MAINGEAR Computers headquarters in Kenilworth, New Jersey. I'm here with Wallace Santos, the CEO of MAINGEAR Computers. Wallace, thank you.
Hey, thank you for coming by.
I've been using MAINGEAR products now for over 4 years as a partner broadcaster, and for all my video editing, it has always come down to my system. It was a Rush system, and it was time to upgrade. And now with the new F131 system, I had to get in on this, Wallace, and this is a custom build that you guys actually designed to my specifications and all my partnership brands, and I was wondering if you could talk about this product.
Sure. So we'll go over basically how we came about with the system, and we'll highlight the specs that you chose and why you chose certain things too, which we went over this for a couple days, and also the partnership and then basically the branding that's in front of the system. But so this is the new F131, and this is a grounds up system that we've designed basically here in New Jersey. Essentially, with the F131, we wanted to basically the interpretation of the perfect PC. And the perfect PC for us isn't something that's too big or something that's too small with sacrifices, right? It's got to be the right size. It has to have the right acoustics. It has to be comfortable. It has to be beautiful. And most importantly, it has to perform, especially for a guy like you. You need this thing to perform if you're live, if you're streaming. It's got to work, right?
Yeah, this system has to wear many hats for me as a broadcaster. I wanted to consolidate from a 2-computer setup to a single computer that can broadcast live at 1080p 60 frames per second with no problems and play the latest titles like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and some older stuff like GTA at a very high frame rate.
Oh yeah, and you chose the right components for that, right? You chose the right system, actually. So let's start off with the chassis itself. The chassis, like I said, it was a grounds-up design, but we designed it in collaboration together with Apex, and it's the first time that we actually designed the cooling and the chassis together, right? This gives us an opportunity to change a few things. First of all, we're able to make it slimmer, right? And then we're able to create, which is what we call Apex, which is basically the best open loop cooling system around. So basically, it's a reservoir. Okay, it actually turns the water. It makes the liquid cooling loop parallel. In your case here, you chose to opt out of the GPU cooling because you're probably saving up or saving for the next generation stuff that might come out in the future. Cough, cough.
In the current, just so you guys know, at the time we're making this video, still the 1080 Ti is the industry leader for graphics cards for your gaming system.
It's the best you can
And with that said, but we are at the point now where other stuff might be coming soon. So to do a second loop for the 1080 Ti, only to remove it in just a few months, let's say, or a year.
I don't know when NVIDIA's dropping their next generation, but it's an assumption you're making, and it's you're gonna have the space for it. So whenever that does drop, we'll actually make the liquid cooling loop parallel, and we'll liquid cool the next generation GPU as well for you.
Now, one of the great things I learned about the Apex system is instead of having a separate loop for your GPU and a separate loop for your CPU, the Apex actually gives you just a central loop, and then from there it could split out with coolant going to each subset on the motherboard and to the GPU.
Absolutely. So basically, you're getting fresh chilled liquid here. It's going to actually get pressure regulated, and it's going to split the loop into the CPU and the GPUs. In this case here, GPU is missing, or the cooling for the GPU is missing. Has actually a pressure release valve. It actually has temp probes in here, so we're constantly monitoring the liquid cooling temperatures. And has dual pumps as well. So the dual pumps is interesting. As you can probably not hear
this is whisper quiet. I cannot tell that this is even on. I thought it feels like it's off. If I wasn't looking at the other side of it, I would not know this machine is running.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea, right? Because we're able to basically make the complete liquid cooling system dynamic, so it's able to adjust according to the load, and wherever we can basically make it more robust and decrease the acoustics, that's what we're doing, right? So by introducing dual pumps, we're able to run the pumps at lower speeds, giving you the better longevity, giving you better acoustics and redundancy. So you have dual pumps in your system, right?
And the other good thing too is from a studio standpoint, usually if you use more of an air-cooled type of architecture, fans get loud, they blow heat out into the room that you're in. This system can actually sit right behind me in an enclosed 14 by 14 studio, not really heat up the room, and you won't pick it up with the microphones.
That's right. That's right. And this is for this is not specially made for you. This is what we sell standard, right? This is it. Now let's talk about how you spec'd it, because it's a beauty, as you can see. You chose obviously a beautiful blue, which is grabber blue from the Mustang.
And you know what? As a mixer partner, I got to represent, and we went with the same blue, also with the off-white and the silver.
Oh yeah.
To go with the mixer brand colors.
Oh yeah. Great choice of colors. Great choice of partners, actually. Part of the F131 launch, we introduced something what we call Mark. And Mark is basically allows us to apply artwork on the paint jobs, full color, vivid artwork on the paint jobs, and for a relatively low cost. Typically, we would sit here and hand airbrush these logos, but now we're able to apply the artwork in a better way.
The process was seamless for me. I actually spoke to my sales representative that handled the build for me. I gave the artwork. After we went through the artwork, we had to make just a couple tweaks, and then from there, he actually took the graphic. And what do we do from there with this build, with the graphic?
Yeah, so once we got approval from you, it goes into a downdraft spray booth, just like an automotive vehicle, right? So we have in-house an automotive spray booth where it's using car paint. It's automotive paint. We're baking it just like a car in the booth. So we're applying the base coats, the clear coats, and we're buffing this thing just like a vehicle, right? So we're waxing it.
And if I remember correctly, this is a Porsche blue? Is this the same? This is a blue from a Porsche, I believe.
Was it from a Porsche?
I believe it was.
I got a mistake, but yeah. So it might. This is Voodoo Blue. You're right. You're right. This is Voodoo Blue. That's you made the choice. Yeah, it's Voodoo Blue, and it's got the off-white interior. Now, great components. You have the Intel Core i7 8700K in there. You have HyperX memory, which is the best memory you can buy. Powered by an MSI motherboard, which is the best motherboard that we qualified for the F131. This board can take a beating, man. EVGA power supply. You have an EVGA 1080 Ti in here, which is crazy because the EVGA 1080 Ti, when it's in idle, it shuts off all the fans. So it plays along with the theme of keeping the system quiet, right? The fans are not spinning right now for that reason. Once you fire up a game, it'll kick on. And what else we have here? Of course, it's powered by the Samsung 960 Pro.
NVMe is totally the way to go right now.
It's a game changer.
It's really, if you have an SSD and you go to an NVMe, you're going to see even more of a dramatic difference. And I didn't believe it at first. I really didn't believe it at first. And then when I started benchmarking the Samsung 960s, I believe, the Pros, with the new NVMes, you could see a difference. And
so when the NVMe SSDs first came out, I quickly switched over to one for my personal system at home. But the size is a relatively small size SSD. So at the time, right after a 4 terabyte standard SSD came out by Samsung, I think it was the A50 Evo, and I switched to that because I wanted the extra space. I couldn't take it. I wanted my NVMe back because it made such a difference. And I thought the same thing as you. I thought that NVMe wouldn't make that much of a difference, but it makes a huge difference. Even when you're going from an SSD to an NVMe SSD. Now, if you're going from a hard drive to an NVMe SSD, it's...
Hold on to your pants.
It's just like, keep it on.
And the Maingear representative I worked with on the actual build when we were speccing it out, we went with, I believe, a 512 gigabit NVMe, and then we went with a 2 terabyte standard hard drive. This is where I put all my VODs, all my saved files, all my games, and it was my storage. And then from there, I could create a replication job if I need to my NAS and back up my backup. But this build is becoming the standard build if you want to produce great quality content. So with that said, if you want to talk more probably about the heating, I'd love to hear more about that because right now I got my hand here and this thing's idle. I can't even tell it's on. I'm feeling no blowback, whatever. Actually, you could feel cool air coming off of it.
Yeah, so this will gradually warm up when it's under load, but it's not going to set your pants on fire, right? This is where the heat exchanger is right up top here. So the system technically does have vertical heat dissipation as well, right? It's a theme that we've been running with for 10 years now.
I got to tell you, when I got my Rush system from Maingear and I saw it for the first time sideways, I was a little taken back. I was like, why is this like this? And then it's normal because heat rises.
That's right.
And to have your I/O on the side coming out here and then blowing heat out the back, you're kind of fighting yourself. By having everything come up naturally, you're not fighting against anything.
It's already going that way. So just with a little bit of an extra push, you're able to just expel the heat out of the system. And that's the idea. It's about an efficient design. It's about efficient cooling. It's about aesthetics. As you can see, it's a system that looks very clean, looks very good. It's, even if you look back at your Rush, your Shift, all these older systems that you have, they still look good till today. If you design a product that looks like it belongs here today, it might get played out in a year. Right, it's like, so we try to stick with the timeless designs in our chassis and in our PCs.
So let's talk, as a content creator, benchmarking is key in the industry. One of the cool things about Maingear computers is they don't just put it together, make sure it posts, and then drop an operating system. They actually held it back from me for 3 days so they could do a synthetic load test. This would, well, why don't you talk more about the load? Like
So that was actually pretty painful for him, because as soon as the build was complete, I sent him a message just basically showing him the picture of the completed system. And he's like, I'm going there right now. And I'm like, no, buddy, it takes another 3 days. And
you kicked it off on a Friday. It was ready by a Monday, I believe.
Yeah. And he was like, no, I want it now. And I'm like, look, we have to test it. But, we burn every computer in, right? No matter if you're spending $500 or $1,000, or if you're spending $10,000 in a PC, we're going to burn it in the same. We're going to stress test the GPU, the CPU, and the memory at the same time. We're going to actually put that benchmark data in your binder, which we got to show you the inside of this, the folder here, or the box here, the out-of-box experience. We write down the benchmark number for you. We update the BIOSes, we update the drivers, and more importantly, we ship Windows clean. So there's no
bloatware.
There's no bloat. It's our policy for every computer that we sell. We want to make sure that your system performs at its peak from day one. A lot of times when you buy a system from a bigger manufacturer, you might save a couple of bucks, but you're gonna get you have a high chance of getting a system that's bloated with additional software that you don't need. Now, there's been studies out there where they show that the system underperforms up to 15%.
15%.
With bloatware. Brand new computer, you buy it in the big box store, you plug it in, you test it, and then you reformat that drive and retest it.
And it's faster.
15% faster.
Well, I got to give a compliment to T-Clock. Anything I would ever have to buy out of the box, either it's for security purposes or performance, I wipe it immediately. I really do.
You don't have to wipe this one.
And with the Maingear systems, I don't do that.
No need to.
Because I already have a technician that has certified the product. It's like, I equate buying a Maingear to buying like an exotic sports car. With Lamborghini, he had Valboni. He would take the Lamborghini around the track one time before they ship it out. And, now I got my own guy that signs off on the work and, puts his name on this certification.
Well, I didn't play PUBG with your system, so I'll tell you that. But it was definitely benchmarked and tested. And we want to make sure that we're shipping you a product that's fully functional. Because honestly, if it breaks, we're losing money.
Yeah.
Right? The moment it breaks and we have to warranty that product, doesn't make financial sense for us to send you a bad product.
And as a content creator, you have deadlines you have to meet, so all of a sudden you're moving your software and your licensing over to the new computer. If the computer has to go back, now you got to roll it all back if you even have the old computer still after a couple weeks.
That's right.
And one quick note, this video that you're watching right now will actually be edited in Adobe Premiere on this computer. So
that means you should be able to get it done by this afternoon.
Yeah. I'll get right on that, Wallace.
But so look, it's a beautiful package. It performs, it looks good, acoustically sound. So the packaging that we design for every product is drop tested by FedEx and UPS. So this is certified packaging for this product. So we're not recycling packaging. Because we're designing the chassis, we're also designing the package from the ground up, and it's designed for impact. Now, the moment you need to ship your computer in different types of boxes because to protect it more, that means the packaging was not efficient.
So do you think with cost-cutting, major manufacturers just take the box they got that it could kind of fit into and shoehorn it in and hope it ships properly?
Sometimes that happens, and sometimes people are recycling the box that they bought the chassis in with that hard styrofoam, and they're putting the fully integrated PC in that box with that hard styrofoam. And now here's the problem. That styrofoam was designed for an empty chassis, not for a fully integrated PC. Now you go from 20 pounds to 60 pounds, and you ship that through FedEx. It's going to transfer all the shock through the components, and you're going to have all sorts of problems in the future. So in our case, we're actually designing the packaging from day one. We're over-speccing it so we can ship it to you and it's going to arrive to you safely.
Cool. Now, I have not opened this yet. I've only broken the label. So when you receive your Maingear computer, first off, I've always loved this. This is one thing that Wallace has instituted, and from day one. This is the actual checklist for my computer, the team member who built the computer, and you just feel like you're appreciated as a customer. In here you can see everything, the chassis connections, the CPU, the RAM, the GPU, storage, PSU, all the I/O to make sure it's working, and that the BIOS is on the latest BIOS, so you're always up to date. Especially when you're dealing with newer technology, you got to make sure you have that latest BIOS.
And something to say for that too, when we say the latest BIOS, is the latest tested BIOS. Sometimes there might have a BIOS that just came out the week that we're shipping your system, but we won't ship it with that BIOS because we want to make sure that it's not buggy.
And you don't want your consumers to be your beta testers, basically.
That's right. That's right. Sometimes, MSI or Asus or every manufacturer might drop a BIOS, and it's the latest and greatest, but it's not the latest and greatest that's working properly. So we want to make sure that the BIOSes that we're shipping the system with is tested by us, and there's no issues. So for the most part, we're always on basically shipping the latest and greatest, but sometimes we might hold back.
That's great. Yeah. I noticed on this computer you have, like other computers, but it's on the side, you have your I/O not only on the back, but you have it on the front. And one compliment I've already seen with the F131 is that you actually have the USB Type-C port now featured on the front of the computer.
Yeah.
This is great, especially if you have a mobile device. I believe monitors now also hook up to USB Type-C, if I'm not mistaken. T-Clock? I think so, right? Yeah.
Yep. So, it's not as popular on the PC platform yet. It is more popular on phones. But, we're future-proofing, so we want to make sure that we have the latest USB connections. It's USB 3 all around, but you have the Type-C connector as well.
Cool. In here also, as you can see, everything is wrapped professionally. This I have not gone through this yet, honestly. You open it up. So this is one of the things I like. I'm not a big Rgb lighting guy, but I got to tell you, when you want to set the mood to the theme that you're broadcasting with in your in-frame, and you want it to match the colors of the game you're representing, or your channel's brand, let's say, whether it's on YouTube, Mixer, Twitch, whatever, you can adjust it with the controls to match your theme.
That's right. Yeah, and you know what? I'm not a big fan of the crazy rainbow as well.
Yeah, neither am I.
It's not my thing. I like the clean, just single color themes, but you can choose whatever color you want, right? So you want to pick red, you want to choose white, you can just change it on the fly.
Also in here, you got some swag in here. I see you got your pin, you got your keychain. All right, you got a band.
That's important.
I'm looking at all my friends with the bands, pushing their band products, and also a cup holder. Now, a cup...
Frisbee.
But one word of advice, do not put this on top of the computer. This doesn't mean you can put what you're drinking on top of the computer, so don't do that, guys, okay?
That's right. I mean, it's funny because the first thing that these guys came up with was actually a conversation I was having with Ron, Sean, and Wendell, and they said, a cup holder or a coaster.
Coaster.
Let's come up with a coaster. And I'm like, why would you use a coaster? And I'm saying that, and I'm talking to them, literally drinking my Starbucks, and I'm putting it on my mouse pad. I'm like, that's it. It is, like we need a coaster.
So I got my official Maingear coaster. One of the things I do before like a 6-hour broadcast is I actually get a big cup of ice water, and I do put it on my desk, and I get little rings. So this actually, I'm not lying to you all, this is actually going to get a lot of...
Everybody needs a coaster.
I swear to God. All right, so important stuff. You want to talk about what's in the bag here? Because it says important. So
so open it up. Let's just take a look at it. It's basically stuff for the future, right? So you might need to upgrade something, or your manuals, your CDs from for your drivers.
So free antivirus software.
That's right. We don't pre-install the antivirus software because people have their own preference. That's why we include the key code. Plus, you have to register with your username and password as well. So this is something that I highly recommend you set up at home if you don't have an antivirus.
So I got my Windows operating system just in case.
We ship a copy of, an OEM copy of Windows with every system that we put out.
I got my MSI software. You want to talk about the software for a second?
What's on here? So we only load the drivers for the motherboard. We don't include the extra software. Sometimes there's tweaking utilities and things like that MSI might include. We don't consider that bloatware, but like I said, we're shipping a clean copy of Windows. If you want to install an overclocker utility and overclock it yourself, we don't recommend it because we already set everything for you, so you can set it and forget it. But some people might want that option, and that's why we include that.
Also on here, we got the drivers for the GTX 1080 Ti from EVGA. So it's good to have these. Let's see what else we got in here, Wallace. So keep me safe. I like that. It says it right on the box. I'm feeling
we got drive in there.
Yep. So we got what do we got here, Wallace? We got a USB 3 drive.
It's basically your recovery image for your Windows partition. If you catch a virus or if you screw something up, you can just walk you through on resetting your system for you.
So if I could compliment you really quick, this is a better way to go. A lot of manufacturers, to save money, time, and effort, they'll actually do a partition on your operating system drive. It's not good. What if you have a hard drive failure?
That's right. What if your hard drive fails? And more importantly, you want that space. You're paying so much money for that NVMe drive. Why would you want to take 50 gigs or 40 gigs out of that drive? It's already not for a 4 terabyte drive as is, right? And just throw it away.
Right.
So that's why we include the pen drive.
And this falls under the support model. So with Maingear, with any computer you buy, with their warranty, you get customer support service based out of here in the office. You want to talk about the support model for a minute? How somebody can get help?
Yeah, so it's everybody in New Jersey, right? You can just call our 1-800 number, or you can go on our website, and we'll support you via chat. We can do a remote login session, which we call angelic support. So if you're having an issue with your system, you just give us a call, and we'll actually remote into your system for you, and we'll help you configure whatever you're trying to configure. And here's the thing: we're all gamers, and a lot of times there might be an issue where it's not even the system that's causing it. It might be an issue with the game. It might be an issue with a driver. Well, because we're gamers and we're playing these games, we'll probably know what's going on already. Right. And that's one of the benefits of buying a system from us, because you're buying from a bunch of dudes that are gamers.
Yeah, and the quality of the support is amazing. When I got my Rush system, I had a problem where the fan was a little too loud. I called in, read off the serial number, and immediately a tech support representative got to the computer, found out that the fan was programmed to run a little too high.
Oh, yeah.
And just with a simple tweak remotely, he made it whisper quiet and said, hey, call back if you need anything else. And it's been great. The customer support is what I think a lot of companies are missing these days. Yeah. And it's very personal what Maingear has to offer.
You don't want to deal with people that's never seen the product, right? A lot of times you're calling someone, a 1-800 number somewhere, that might not even be in this country, and the people supporting you are the people that never touched the product.
And you feel like they're reading a book, like a manual. Go to step 2 if they say this.
That's usually the case.
Right.
You're reading from a screen, and with us, it's a different story. You're talking to the guys who built your system. You're talking to the guys who play games. You're talking to the guys that love what they're doing. So. Yeah.
Really quick, in the box, we got our standard power supply adapter.
Your fourth T-shirt.
My fourth T-shirt. So, guys, if you don't know, you can use promo code DZLive on your purchase with Maingear and get a free 2-year extended warranty, I believe.
There you go.
So, you get a T-shirt, represent the brand, a magnet. You could just probably stick that on the side.
It's aluminum. So.
Yeah, and you got a pen. And then, of course, now I got to tell you, one of my viewers actually got his system before me. And he actually went, I did not see this coming. He actually went nuts on Twitter all about the stickers that he got with it. I kid you not. He was putting the branding all over the place. So, yeah.
It's just fun. But as you can see, the attention to detail is not only with the product, but with the full experience. So from the moment that we box your computer up, we want to make sure it arrives to you safely. From the moment we support you, that if you might have an issue, we're going to talk to you and try to help you as best as we can, to the actual out-of-box experience, which... There's a personal touch. There's actually a letter that.
Oh yeah,
we included in there.
I got to tell you right now. I don't know if we can we'll get this in shot, but basically you do get a thank you letter, and it is signed by the technician, I believe.
It's by the technician, our team, and it's the little touches that make all the difference.
All right. So, again, thank you, Wallace. This is an amazing system. I can't wait to start creating more content with this. Watch the stream live. Watch the videos on YouTube. All production work will be done on this system. I can't wait to get out there and try different scenarios with the product. If you haven't already, be sure to check out maingear.com. And don't forget to check me out. I'm DZ, and hope to talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
Thank you.